But it's getting worse every day. With me, Peggy Hubbard from Belleville. Peggy, how the hell you doing?
Pretty good, Bob.
Listen, now can you give us a little backdrop on this story with your husband?
Well, on July 3rd, around 12:30 in the morning, Charles had a traffic stop, and the guy had, we come to find out he had a restraining order. Charles was just going to issue him a ticket for no insurance. Uh-huh. And what had happened was when he went back to the car to write the citation, check to see everything was good, he found out that this guy had a felony restraining order against him. And he was just so happens parked outside the house where he had the restraining order from.
Okay.
So Charles goes back to the car and says, you have a felony restraining order. You need to come with me. We're not going to do this in front of your child that's in the back seat. We're going to do this quietly.
Very commendable.
Yeah. So the guy came out, and he came out, put one hand up, raised up the other hand, and shot Charles twice. Once in the left, once in the right. The bullet went through his shoulder, out his lower back, and was embedded in his vest. The second shot, when he put his arm up to block the shot from his head, went through his arm and above his chest. Mind you, this gutless bastard left his baby in the car and ran. Charles was able to return fire and put him down. Now,
did he kill him or just wound him?
He wounded him. I get a call around I get a knock on the door from Belleville sergeant knocking on my door. And I get the knock on the door that no police officer wife ever wants to get. No spouse ever wants this knock at their door. Yeah. And I answered the door and I said, it's either my husband or it's my son. He said, ma'am, it's your husband. I'm sorry to inform you. And I dropped to my knees. He has been shot in the line of duty.
Okay.
I'm going nuts, Bob, at this time. I'm screaming, I'm crying. Well, we think he's going to be okay. We're not sure.
Well, they just knew he got shot. They didn't know all the particulars.
Right. They don't know all the particulars. So I'm running through the house. I'm waking up my daughter who's visiting us with our grandchildren. Daddy's been shot. I need to get to the hospital. Daddy's been shot. And I'm trying to get dressed. I'm bawling my eyes out. And I get my clothes on, go to the front door, grab my purse. I said, let's go. The Belleville sergeant, and I know he's doing his job.
Right.
He's
let's don't hold it against him. That's right.
He's taking orders. He said, well, ma'am, I'm sorry, but we can't take you to the hospital. And I go, why can't you take me to the hospital? My husband has been shot twice. You just told me, and you cannot take me?
And you're not capable of driving at this point because you don't know what kind of condition he's in.
Exactly. Right. And I don't know what hospital he's at. So I don't know. So I'm going, okay, why can't you take me? Well, we have been ordered not to. By who? By his lieutenant.
Well, who was ordered by the chief because it had to get clearance from the chief for an incident that serious.
So I'm telling this sergeant, you need to get this SOB, this bastard on the line. I need to talk to him. This is a police officer that is shot. This is my husband. And no sooner than I'm getting ready to call the department to raise holy hell, I get a call from St. Louis City, Lieutenant Jerry Foster. I love that man. He calls me and said, Peggy, we're on the way. I'm coming to get you. Now, this is a St. Louis City police officer.
Coming way over here to Belleville.
Belleville to get me. St. Louis City. Now, I've been a citizen of Belleville for 15 years. Paid my taxes. Voted in every election. Volunteered at the schools. Volunteered for the police officers here. I did a viral video back in 2015 about the Black Lives Matter. That video just went circulated again after this shooting with Dallas. Went over 24 million as of this morning. Speaking out for the police officers. Speaking out for all the cops in this area.
Wait a minute. That's kind of novel. I have a black lady, proud black lady speaking out for the police officers.
Yeah.
Well, that's, but Peggy, let me give a little other background. I personally think it was because I know you were going to come out and run against one of the candidates, one of the chosen few up here in Belleville.
Yes,
I have to say, I think that was the big underlying factor because these rotten bastards, they take politics so serious, they'd probably kill politically. And I believe that's the backdrop to why they didn't do anything for you when your husband, Officer Hubbard, 26 years officer from Hillsdale, get shot, they don't give a damn because it's about politics. It's not about humanity. It's not about integrity. It's about politics for these rotten bastards in St. Clair County. Don't you think that may have a little bit to do with it?
Bob, when you... Yeah, I went out and tried to get signatures. I was 112 short. And I think I would have gave this man a run for his money. And from what I understand, they said he was probably a little intimidated because here's a lady who's not afraid to speak her mind and speak up. Now, my husband is a police officer. When you're a cop, you're not white. You're not black.
You're blue.
You are blue.
Right.
When you put on that badge and when you put on that uniform, you're blue. Now, when the Baldwin cop got shot, 3 days after my husband got shot, his family lives in Hillsboro, Missouri. Don't you know they drove all the way to Hillsboro to go get his family?
Oh, I believe that.
I live 24 miles from St. Louis City. He was taken to Barnes Hospital when I found out from the lieutenant who picked me up. Belleville couldn't give me the courtesy. And this man knows Chief Clay knows my husband. He knows my husband personally. I have business dealings with his son and his daughter-in-law. And you couldn't give me the courtesy of a fallen police officer to take me to the hospital to be by my husband's side?
Yeah. No, that's not a courtesy, Peggy. That's an obligation. That's an obligation from one police officer to another. But here, Peggy, and I have to say this. I want to preface this. People, don't think that this goes on in all police communities. And I want to personally also thank Lieutenant Jerry Foster from the St. Louis City Police Department for his actions, being a decent police officer, worrying about somebody else's family. But Peggy, this police department's not run by police officers. It's run by
the political machine.
It's run by Mark Eckert, Maximus Vaginas, Big Pussy, Mark Eckert, and that plantation Negro, and I mean that. Every black person should be ashamed of Chief Bill Clay. That some bitch steps and fetch for these white boys up here. Whatever they tell him to do, he's stepping and fetching. He needs to get a job in the theater or Dancing with the Stars because he is hurt. This black man has hurt this town that is trying to come together, black and white. He has helped tear it apart, tear the black and white community apart. You're a proud black lady. You agree or not, Peggy?
I agree, because I haven't seen Clay go down to Freedom Drive, where all the problems are. I haven't seen him go down there. I haven't seen him come and talk to any of us black citizens about any of our concerns. I have not seen him do any of these things. Now, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's a family friend, but this is a police officer first. This is a family member first. When you're a police officer, you are a family. Doesn't matter if you serve in St. Louis City, St. Louis County, St. Clair County, Madison County, Monroe County. When you're a cop, you are a family of blue. You take care of your own. To be told in your hour of need that they're not going to help you, what does that say about our city? What does that say about our politicians? You don't care enough about your citizens, especially a cop's family, to come to their aid and help them and be with them. Now, that poor little sergeant, bless his heart, felt so bad.
Oh, I believe he did.
He came to my house every day after work to check on us, to see if we needed anything on his own time.
Yeah, but Peggy, don't think that you were disrespected, because my pop always told me you can't expect to get respect from someone who doesn't respect themselves. And these rotten bastards up here, they don't know what respect is, Peggy. They've never practiced it. They've never had to.